Hello. I would like to take the opportunity to speak on what is potentially the earliest officially endorsed visual representation of the United Nations transhumanist agenda, an agenda that appears to have been perpetuated by the eugenicist Rockefeller family in the late 19th century through their infiltration of dental societies. Given that the Rockefeller family provided land and funding for the construction of the United Nations offices in New York, the agenda of the UN and the Rockefeller family shall forever remain entwined. There is a book called You and the United Nations, which was written and illustrated by Lois Fisher in 1947. It can be confirmed as a collaboration with the United Nations, as on the opening pages there is the comment, "Children's Press expresses gratitude to Mrs. Harrison Thomas, Educational Director, American Association for the United Nations Incorporated, for her help in editing this book." The first page is delightful. It says, "If you move back far enough, you get perspective." The two children in the illustration are holding pieces of paper titled Contemporary Art. This is ironic, as we are living through a time of temporary con art, and you have to wonder how many of the human cogs working within the New World Order machine ever step back to take a look at the engine they are part of.
Okay, one last time. These are small, but the ones out there are far away. Small, far away. Forget it.
In brief, You and the United Nations is a juvenile's indoctrination manual. It tells us how for eons humanity is warlike and savage, how borders create division, that the Industrial Revolution made the world smaller, and ultimately it is necessary for a global elite to work towards planetary harmony by means of singular global governance. The Security Council, which appears very communist in this image, has the duty of maintaining the New World Order by means of continual surveillance, and as you can see here, the Secretariat won't even have the privacy to get their pants on. Anyway, enough of that. You want the nugget. You've waited long enough already, but I will keep you waiting a moment longer, as I would like to draw your attention to an important, potentially overlooked symbol, one that is continually propagated, and its deeper meaning for the United Nations. The classical music concert. The ingredients of an orchestra come from a mastermind's pen strokes, conducted diligently by subservient musicians, to produce a unified harmonic vibration or not, depending on what is served up to them in black and white. The orchestra is literally enslaved in unison to the composition. On this double-page spread there is a conference in progress, and it can clearly be seen that the individuals have varying and conflicting opinions. Now, if you focus on the individual in the top right-hand corner, you can see a man wearing a dunce's hat. With negative posture and pointed finger, he declares, "Didn't I predict it? You can't change human nature." Just behind his shoulder is a cuboid object titled Chip. And below, a parrot squawks, "We've never done it before." This image was created around a decade before the declaration of the invention of the microchip, and the term transhumanism was coined by Julian Huxley. So I ask you all, is this the first endorsable visual representation of the transhumanist agenda to microchip humanity into biotechnocratic subjugation? And will Tesla-phoresis of carbon nanotubes be the mechanism that makes it possible? The closing pages are in fact worthy, applicable affirmations. Think for yourself. Learn to interpret the true meaning behind the words you read. Don't be like the home economics student who did her homework in the refrigerator just because the cookbook said mix ingredients then set in a cool place. You as an individual have dignity and worth. You also have responsibility. The peace and security of the world depend on how you think, what you say and how you act. Finally, the credits illustrate how a target audience was captured through the infiltration of theosophical movements. It is one of the most outstanding presentations of the United Nations that I have been privileged to see. I hope that it will have an enormous circulation both in this country and abroad. Willard Johnson, Vice President, the National Conference of Christians and Jews. For many years we have sought a brief, easily read book showing in graphic form the necessity and feasibility of world order. In you and the United Nations we have found just such a book. Dr. Henry A. Atkinson, General Secretary, World Alliance for International Friendship Through Churches. The churches will find this little book to be a great help in teaching the lessons of world peace to the younger generation and to adults as well. Reverend Dr. Ralph W. Sockman, President, Church Peace Union. I thank you for your time.
Go in and say hello.
But I don't know what it is. Just pull that thing there. I don't know. Fiddle about with it. Fuck off! We'll try that wire.
Who are you?